Welcome to Salem and to the Salem College Lecture Series, to one of our fireside chats that does not have a fireplace, but rather an auditorium, an organ, because so many of you have attended tonight. It seems appropriate that we have the space to hear something that is not fictive or imaginative drama. It's the stuff of life. And few of us in this auditorium have ever experienced hunger, certainly not the constant gnawing of days without food. Few of us have been routed out of bed each day at 4 in the morning to perform back-wrenching labor. And few of us have known the precarious world where one could die at any moment. Yet 6 million Jews found themselves in that extreme situation, as did Rena Gelissen, a native of Poland. For 3 years and 41 days, she was in a concentration camp at Auschwitz and Birkenau, and her story has reached fruition through the words captured by Heather McAdam, a continuing studies student at Salem College. When I first met Heather, she was talking to our Dean of Continuing Studies, saying that she wanted to come to Salem because she wanted to write. And she and I immediately struck up a friendship, and I have read her manuscript and have seen her bring it to a close and to find out that it will be published by Beacon Press this year. She is going to tonight read you some of the pages from her manuscript, and then she and Rena will have a conversation about those years in Rena's life so that the rest of us can remember and to know. You will find Rena Gelissen a woman who has survived an extraordinary ordeal with a spirit that we would all like to be able to live with. So tonight, Heather McAdam.
Thank you, Dean Allen. That was lovely. Rena and I met in January 1992, and although we weren't sure we were going to hit it off, we did. I wasn't sure that she would want to tell her story to somebody who hadn't grown up in World War II. I'm not Jewish, I'm not Polish, but there was something in between us that connected, and when she started to tell her story, I heard my own story in it, and I think that's one of the reasons why her story is so important, is it's not just about the Holocaust. There is something in it for everybody. This is a story about the love between sisters, women's relationships with each other, and how we survive trauma and horror, and how we do that and maintain our humanity. I'm just going to give you a brief rundown of the history. Rena was born in Poland. She escaped into Czechoslovakia twice, but the second time she escaped into Czechoslovakia, they went there because the laws were not as strict against Jews, and she was safer than she was in Poland. She lived there for about a year, and martial law was proclaimed, and along with martial law, it was ordered that anybody who was an illegal alien in Czechoslovakia needed to turn themselves in to the authorities, or anybody caught hiding them would be shot. Rena was a nanny at that point. She had a 5-year-old charge and a sweet family that she was living with, and she did not want to be responsible for them being murdered. She knew that the Germans meant business. So she turned herself in. She thought that she was going to a work camp for a couple of months. She wasn't. She was supposed to get married in 2 weeks when she turned herself in. She wrote her fiancé a letter saying, hopefully I will be home in a couple of months and we can get married then. They did not know what was coming. So she turned herself in on March 22nd, 1942. And the excerpt I'm going to read to you is just a brief excerpt. She arrived in camp on the first transport to Auschwitz. She was tattooed number 1,716. There were 999 German prisoners women that were brought to Auschwitz the same day. They were given the numbers 1 to 999. They started numbering the Jewish women at 1,000. So Rena was the 716th woman in Auschwitz, tattooed in Auschwitz. And this is about March 26, 1942, when the first transport of Jews arrived in Auschwitz.